Hi, everybody. My name is Brenda Frenheiser, and once again, I would like to welcome you to Applied Statistics. I'm going to be your instructor for the next 8 weeks, and I wanted to take this opportunity to just go through a couple of things that I have found that it's helpful to know to make yourself and to help yourself be successful in this course. I know a lot of people look at statistics and they get very, very scared right away, thinking that it's going to be filled with a whole bunch of formulas and numbers and so on. And while I'm not going to pretend that that's not the case, you are going to find that the actual calculations that you do are actually very minimal because you're going to be using Excel an awful lot. So that kind of brings me to my first point. As you go through the learning modules, you're going to see a lot of information. And a lot of people really, really focus on Zybooks, which understandably, because you're going to find Zybooks is where your participation activities are and your challenge activities are. And that's where a large portion of your grade comes from. So yes, please, please make a big point of going through everything in Zybooks. When you get into the first module, I do want to caution you because this is one of the questions that I get a lot in the beginning. When you go into Brightspace, you're going to see like the first activity is or the first assignment, participation activity, is labeled 1-2 participation activity, and it'll take you into Zybooks. A lot of people, however, tend to believe that that 1-2 means that when you get into Zybooks, all you need to do is chapter 1, section 2. That is not the case. 1-2 is simply how Brightspace is using their numbering system. It's module 1, assignment 2. When you get into Zybooks, to get all of the points for the participation activities, you need to go through all of chapter 1. So I think chapter 1 has like 10 different lessons in it. Participation activities, you can go in, you can try it. They'll give you feedback immediately. You keep trying until you can get them correct. And then there are challenge activities, which those you only have one choice for, but we'll talk about that in a second as to some support that you can get there. So as you go into Zybooks, one of the things, because you're going to be using Excel an awful lot, one of the things that you're going to find is that you're going to be given quite a few commands to use in Excel. I really, really strongly suggest that you start and continue making a list of those Excel commands. You're going to find that once you get past Module 1, you are going to be kind of doing the same types of calculations pretty repeatedly. Like, for example, you're going to be asked to find the mean, which is the average, in every assignment from modules 2 through 8. So having that list of these are the commands that I use to get the mean, or these are the commands I use to get the median or standard deviation, all of which are terms you'll learn very quickly. But having that running list is something that's going to be nice to reference back to as you get further in the course. Another thing that you're going to find is terminology. You're going to see definitions for mean and median and standard deviation and null hypothesis and confidence interval. Again, all things that you may or may not know at this point, likely not, and that's okay. But writing down those terms is important. And that kind of goes along with something that I'm going to talk about a little bit more in depth in a few minutes, which is grading. It's important to be able to tell me what the definition of median is, for example. Median is the middle. All right, but in applied statistics here at SNHU, we want to be a little bit more specific. You're going to find that your assignments past Module 1 are all geared toward real estate. So you're going to be given a lot of data, and you're going to choose a region and take that region and find a sample of properties. And for those properties, you're going to see their listing prices, their square footage, and the price per square footage. And then you're going to be asked to do a variety of things with that. So if you're asked to find the median listing price, it's going to be important that you're able to describe that as, well, the median listing price is $250,000. That means that 50% of the listing prices are larger than 250,000 and 50% of the listing prices are less than 250,000. Using those definitions is going to be important. So again, as you go through zyBooks, you're going to get a lot of information. However, there's also a tab in each module called Additional Resources. And that's going to be very, very important for you to take a look at. Not only does it have additional reading in there, but one of the things that is in there that's going to be real helpful to you is a video that will walk you through the challenge activities. So if you go into additional resources, you may have to scroll down a little bit for each module, but you will find a video where there's a gentleman that SNHU has had tape himself going through similar questions that you're going to find in the challenge activities. So I strongly suggest, if you have the ability, to kind of have a two-screen system here. Maybe have the video playing on a tablet while you're working on a laptop and doing the pause, and have him explain something, pause it, you go and do it, and kind of go through it like that. So it is very, very important to watch those videos. You also will find videos past Module 1 again that provide a walkthrough of the assignments. Those videos can be found under the Guidelines and Rubric tab in Assignments. If you have problems at any point finding them, please let me know and I can kind of guide you there. But my point here is use all of your resources. Again, resources are also going to come from me in the form of announcements. So I will post a new announcement at the beginning of every week, just kind of giving you a rundown of what you can expect that week, what are your different assignments, what should you be doing. But then typically later in the week, I will post additional announcements that include some content. And as you read through those, please pay attention to some of the descriptions that I use or some of the hints that I might give you. So again, use those resources. Now, the thing that everybody tends to want to know, obviously, is the grading. So again, your grade is going to consist of participation activities and challenge activities all through zyBooks. Weeks 1, 6, and 8 will have discussion boards. And then the remaining weeks are going to have assignments. So with those assignments, again, it's going to be all based on real estate so that everybody kind of has the same working knowledge. And it's going to give you, I think, almost 1,000 pieces of data for real estate listings. I think it's from 2019 throughout the nation. You're going to be asked to take a sample and you're going to be asked to choose a region. I very much strongly encourage you to choose a region that you know something about. Like, for example, I live here in Pennsylvania. I probably would choose the Mid-Atlantic region, which includes Pennsylvania, because I know something about the real estate and the area that the Mid-Atlantic region includes, like New York City and Washington, D.C., and so on. So you want to try to personalize it. Now, with the grading for the assignments is based off of a rubric, which you have access to. But one of the things that you're going to find when you get into the rubric is the way that it's usually based off of 4 different levels. And the top 2 levels are listed as meets expectations or exceeds expectations. So this is one of the things that a lot of people get frustrated with, because I'll grade something and provide the feedback, and then people will get kind of frustrated because they'll say, well, I did everything that was asked of me. And okay, great. That's what you need to do. But if you do exactly everything that's asked of you, that really just means that you meet expectations. So the idea is you want to strive for exceeds expectations. Well, in order to do exceeds expectations, it's a little bit frustrating at times, even if you read the rubric, because a lot of times it will just say student exceeds expectations or presents information in exemplary way or in a unique way or something like that. So that's kind of what you want to be striving for. So kind of go back to the idea of mean and median. Mean is the average. In a lot of the assignments, you're going to be asked to compare. Compare the average listing price of your region to the average listing price for the national market. And you may say, let's say you find that your region has a mean of 250,000 and the national is 275,000. And you may simply tell me, well, the mean of my region is less than the mean of the national region. Well, that meets expectations. You compared, you told me exactly what was going on there. To move it to that exemplary, think about a different way that you could show me that or tell me that. What you may want to do is maybe consider using a bar graph where you show me your region going to 250, the national going to 275. That's a different way of presenting that comparison. Maybe you tell me instead of a graph, maybe you want to tell me that the mean of my region is $25,000 less than the mean of the national market. Okay, well, that's again a different way. It takes it away from just the raw numbers, 250,000, 275,000, and provides a little bit more of a context. So to get that exceeds expectations, keep looking for, well, how can I enhance this? So usually, excuse me, what I tell people is go through and do the assignment, meet your expectations, and then go back and see, okay, well, where are some things that I could expand on a little bit? Can I describe this a little bit better? Can I show this graphically? Keep that in mind. So another thing is embrace your role. Write this, you'll be given a role. Usually you are a data analyst hired by the real estate company. Well, here's the key. When you write your paper, write it as though you're writing to the real estate agents or the CEO of the company. Don't write it to me as your statistics instructor. Because yes, if you tell me that or let's use something different, the standard deviation of the listing price is $2,000. Okay, well, as a statistics teacher, I know what that means. And honestly, if you're listening to this at the very, very beginning of the course, you probably don't even know what that means, and that's okay. But having said that, understand that like a sales agent likely is not going to know what you mean. So that's where it's on you then to expand on that. Okay, well, the standard deviation is $2,000, which means that the majority of listing prices are within $2,000 of the mean. That's where those terms are going to come into play. So yeah, keep your role in mind, keep in mind the point of view. Yes, I'm the one reading it, I'm the one grading it, but pretend that I don't know any statistics. Pretend that I am that sales agent. And then finally, please try to make it personal. Like I said, I would choose a region that you're familiar with or a region that you're interested in or maybe want to move to, and do some research that way so that you're able to, again, add those extras to it. So I think my point is here, what you're going to find is, yes, you're going to be dealing with a lot of numbers. However, Excel is going to do the majority of your formulas for you. It's your job mainly to do the analysis part of it and the reporting part of it. Okay. So as you get started, all right, keep in mind, I am absolutely here to help. That is my job. I went into teaching because I enjoy connecting with students. So I love the opportunity to hop onto a Zoom call. We can connect through Zoom. We can connect through a phone call. We can, email, whatever. But the key here is if you're having problems, reach out for help as soon as that occurs. I'm here to help. I'm looking forward to a great 8 weeks, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.